Pretty suspect, pretty suspect. Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. If this is your first time here, my name's Christina, and I want to say thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No, but seriously, thanks for clicking on this video. Today we're going to get into some true crime. Today we're going to talk about Captain Shirley Gibbs Russell. Captain Shirley was stationed at the Marine base in Quantico, Virginia in 1989. Captain Shirley was known to her peers as a hard worker, and she was succeeding in her career. Captain Shirley was an adjutant and administrative assistant to the commanding officer at the support battalion at the Marines Basic School on base. I'm going to insert some pictures of what Captain Shirley looked like because Shirley was a baddie. And she's giving Aunt Viv the number 1 and not the number 2. Yes, let's get into it. She was giving. Beautiful. Beautiful black woman succeeding in her career. Captain Shirley was married to a gentleman by the name of Robert. Robert and Captain Shirley were an interracial couple, and they lived together in the couple's quarter on the base. Ooh, there we go. Captain Shirley and Robert married in 1988, the year I was born. After Robert divorced his first wife, Robert was a Marine in the, Robert was a Marine at the time of the couple's union, but later he was dishonorably discharged. Robert moved to Virginia with Captain Shirley. They lived and worked together shortly after their marriage, but he was no longer a Marine. After some time, Captain Shirley began to notice hubby was a drinker. Raging alcoholic, if you might. Some may call it that. Either way, Captain Shirley tried all things that a woman would try. She tried to pray for him, stick beside him, tried to fix him, compromise, counseling, all that good stuff, right? It didn't work. So, Captain Shirley decided that it'd be best to dissolve of the marriage, and she moved out and wait for bachelor's housing on the Marine base. What am I drinking today? I'm going to insert a clip of a drink that I made because secret be told, this is probably the second time, maybe third time I filmed this video. But we're back at it again because I didn't like how it went. But yeah, I'm drinking some rum and lemonade today. Strawberry rum. And I'm going to need that to get through this video. Let's hit it. All right, so all of this is a whole bunch of liquor, alcohol. So I love rum. So when I saw the recipe, I was like, girl, it's calling out to you. So let's put our strawberries in first. I think the recipe that I watched had real strawberries. I only eat strawberries every now and then. So I got these freeze-dried ones. Dried ones. It smells like a box of Kellogg's. So I'm gonna throw those in there. Let's hope that these don't kill me. And then we're gonna add 2 shots of rum. Okay, let's measure. That's the rum. I think they measured this one in the recipe. I don't really remember. Or maybe it said however much you desire. It's just wine, baby. It's just wine, baby. But I still have things to accomplish today, so I'm not gonna do just wine and rum. But later I will. And then I just threw some Simply lemonade in here. And it's already chilled. So That is what we're going to be sipping on today. And let's get into a true crime video. So, like many men you kick to the curb, Robert was popping up on Captain Shirley. He was begging her, acting ridiculous. Can you talk to me? Just give me a second of your time. How can I fix this? All those things that men do when you decide to finally leave them. So, Robert was being irrational. However, Captain Shirley, being a woman that she is, she does agree to meet up with him so they can move out of the bachelor's housing, paint, get their belongings, and also she planned to serve him with the divorce papers because she was sticking to her word. So, unfortunately, this will be the last day that Captain Shirley is seen, March 4th, 1989. Captain Shirley, she met up with Robert at the couple's quarters to clean the home. It didn't go as planned. Captain Shirley was approved to be on this leave to have this extra time to move. So it wasn't noticed until the following morning by her colonel that she wasn't at work. And remember, let's go back to what I said, that she was succeeding at her career. She was well respected and a hard worker from all accounts of her peers. So Colonel Hodges, her boss, when she wasn't at work the next day, he was like, no, that's not like Captain Shirley. Let's get in touch with her husband and see if something happened. I know the weekend she was cleaning out she was cleaning out her barracks, right? So Colonel Hodges got in contact with Robert, and he wanted to see what he knew about Captain Shirley not coming into work. Robert agreed to meet Colonel Hodges and the Marine officers at their home, the bachelor home that the two shared. And Colonel Hodges, Robert, and the police officers, they look around. Nothing looks out of place. Nothing's abnormal. Colonel Hodges asked Robert, hey, when's the last time you saw Captain Shirley? And he says, well, we were painting the apartment and she decided to go up the street to the barracks. What do they call it, a military base? PX. He says she went to the PX to get some more paint, but she walked. And Colonel Hodges, he's just like, no, that don't sound about the right, because it's 4 or 5 miles up the road, and why would she leave her car and just walk up the street? But he's like, oh, okay, whatever you say, Robert. So they continued to look around. They did look in the storage shed that was assigned to the couple, and they noticed what appeared to be a rust-like stain on the ground, but they really didn't pay it any mind because it's the storage. There's paint, there's items in there. It's not unlikely to have rust in an area like that. So basically, Colonel Hodges just follows up with the information. He forwards it to the NIS, the Naval Investigative Services. He forwards that information to the NIS, letting them know that he hasn't seen or heard from Captain Shirley. And from there, the NIS forwards the information to the FBI, and they take it over as a missing persons report. So with that information, the FBI would begin to be a 3-year investigation into the disappearance of Captain Shirley. Initially, Robert was cooperative with the FBI. They were treating this like a missing persons report and just following the standard procedure. First, they were following up with Robert, getting his share of things, wanting to figure out, is there any reason why Captain Shirley would be MIA? So Robert, he's cooperative. He's giving them all this information, telling them the last time that he saw her. They follow up with the information that he says that, well, she never came back to the apartment. So I called her barracks because Captain Shirley was moving out of the couple's quarters, but moving into bachelor's housing. So he had called there to see if she was there. That was verified. And also, she was supposed to be meeting a girlfriend later on that day. They got in touch with her, and she agreed that when she went to the apartment, Robert was outside and that Captain Shirley was nowhere to be found. So it looks like on the surface that Robert is being helpful. He even gives them some helpful tips as to what possibly could have went on. he shares accounts of the two being an interracial couple and having some issues when they were in town before, with people not being happy that the two were an interracial couple. He also shares that there was a time when their phone number was somehow shared with other people, and there was a phone call placed to the house with some threatening or aggression going on, and he said that that rattled Captain Shirley. He also went on to say that even though he was popping up where Captain Shirley was and doing all these other things, that he was concerned for her safety, and he bought her a handgun. Now, the FBI didn't really think too much as to why he would buy them a handgun. Excuse me, they thought about why he would buy her a handgun. She has her own. But when he said that, they're just like, oh, okay, whatever you say, Robert. But they didn't note that as something to look into. It came to be that Robert had an alibi at the time that Captain Shirley was estimated to last be seen, and he went up to Pennsylvania that weekend after cleaning out the apartment. His alibi was verified that he was with his parents that weekend up in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I had to go put on some deodorant. I'm sitting under these lights and I'm like, why am I getting sweaty? And I was like, did I put on deodorant this morning? And I don't think I did, so I went to go put some on. Let me know if y'all be forgetting to put on deodorant sometimes. And I don't want to hear with the, oh, she's dirty comments. Don't try me. Don't do that. I digress. Back into the story time. Yeah. So let's talk about it. So after looking into all these other possible dead-end leads, they circle back to Robert and they realize, okay, Robert wasn't driving his vehicle. He drove another vehicle up to Pennsylvania. And they find that to be the young lady that he's staying with after he separated from Captain Shirley. So the FBI learns that Robert got a lady on the side. And that's whose car he drove up to Pennsylvania. And it makes sense because after looking for Captain Shirley and searching for witnesses, someone did notice a blue station wagon pulled up to where the storage unit was, and they had never seen that car before. So with that information, of course, they get a search warrant and they search the vehicle that belonged to the young lady that Robert was also seeing. So with the FBI looking into this vehicle, the vehicle comes back, it checks clean. There's no evidence or anything leading to the idea that Captain Shirley would have been in that vehicle. So they go back and they're talking to the young lady, the side chick. They're talking to her, and initially she's not cooperative. She's just like, yeah, he's staying here, but I don't know anything about their business. So the FBI takes a stand back. They're looking into the information. They're just like, let's poke the bear again. Let's see if we can get some more information out of her. So by the second time that they go and speak with her, her story has changed and she's willing to assist in the investigation. So what Side Chick has to say about Robert is very informative, and it's very shocking to hear the lengths that this man went through to get some information about Captain Shirley. So if you haven't caught on by now, Robert, the husband, is the prime suspect in the disappearance of Captain Shirley, because this is just not in her character to not show up to work and to not be in contact with her family. So Side Chick, she explains that her and Robert were dating before the separation and thereafter, and that's why he moved in with her. She goes on to tell them about Robert's private eye skills and how he had set her up to basically follow Captain Shirley around to see if Captain Shirley was up to no good, i.e., maybe she's into another man because why ain't she into me? It could not be that I'm an alcoholic and I lay my hands on her. It has to be that she's into somebody else. So either way, Side Chick is going above and beyond her duties and following Captain Shirley around. she don't find nothing. Captain Shirley minding her business and living her day-to-day life without Robert. So when she reports that back to Robert, Robert's like, nah, that don't make sense. I'm not crazy. It has to be someone else. So he continues with his own investigation. Y'all, this fool placed a voice-activated recorder in Captain Shirley's vehicle. I guess so he could hear if she was talking about him or making plans to meet up with someone else. Craziness. Then, side chick goes on to say, she goes on to explain to the FBI that Robert had called her and he was in Captain Shirley's room. Now, Captain Shirley was living with a friend before she moved into the bachelor's housing and after she moved out of the couple's housing. She was just staying with another captain and having a room there. Basically, Robert broke into the home and planted a, let me be accurate, a voice-activated recorder. He had bugged her room. He bugged her room, and when he called the side chick, he's sitting there sipping some wine, whispering to her from what believed to be Captain Shirley's room, and reading her journal, basically saying that if something ever was to happen to her, it would be me. But you make sure that you deny it. And when the FBI heard this, basically all of their spidey senses that were tingling this whole time were like, all the fingers point to this man. So with all the information, they're like, all we have is circumstantial information. We don't have the body. We don't have any physical evidence linking A to B. So where do we go from here? So with the information that the side chick provided and that information being looked into, they're like, okay, let's go back. Let's talk to family. Let's figure out, let's learn more about Robert. So there is information about a conversation that was had with Robert's sibling and his family. They talk about how Robert grew up in Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, and that he knows that area very well. So be it that they can confirm that Robert went to Pennsylvania after Captain Shirley was missing, they look into the mine shafts. They look into that area in Pennsylvania, and they notice that there are a substantial amount of mine shafts. And I didn't know what a mine shaft was, so I Googled it. Now I'm like, it cannot be what it sounds like. It is what it sounds like. It's a very deep hole in the ground. Very deep. And they use dynamite to get that deep, as with miners do. And I was just like, that don't sound safe. How they just got this out and available in the open? So the FBI arranged to have a search party search these mine shafts. So all the peoples came out. All of them. The Marines, other military branches. I want to say there was over 2,000 or 3,000 acres of land that had to be searched. It was a three-day search party. Unfortunately, they did not recover Captain Shirley's body, but it did lead them to what they believed a cause of death in her disappearance. At this time, she is presumed dead. And they do find what matches the handgun that Robert said that he had gifted Captain Shirley because he was concerned for her safety. There's a tiny piece of the handgun that matches the same type of handgun that he had gifted her. And they're like, what a coinky dink that this is what we found in the bottom of the mine shaft. And in the information that the FBI had learned from Robert's brother, Robert, plain as day, asked his brother, do you got access to dynamite? Because he couldn't purchase it because it would be delivered to the military base. And that would be bad, right? So when Robert's brother asked him, why do you need dynamite? He is said to be saying to blow up Shirley. You make of that what you would like. I'm just relating the information. But it gives the FBI this thought that it is possible that Captain Shirley was killed, taken to this place in Pennsylvania, thrown in the mine shaft, and blown up. And in addition, we have this fragment of this handgun that matches the handgun that Robert had given her. What are the chances that it would be here, right? Oh, and also I did forget to say that the FBI did go back. They did go back and try to scrape up, parts of that rust that was in that storage closet, in the storage that was assigned to the couple. They tried to see if there was maybe, if there was blood or the chemical used to clean, any chemicals used to clean up blood, and they weren't able to match anything like that. It was just cement and the chemical used to clean up blood. So after looking into Robert, thinking that he's the guy, not being able to have enough evidence to say, okay, he is the guy, he's our suspect, he is the murderer, they look back into all the evidence and it's only circumstantial, so they're trying to piece together everything to see what is it that we can do. Now, let's backtrack a little bit into Robert. So, Robert was stationed in Mississippi. He was also a Marine, let's remember that. So, Robert Russell, he was discharged from the Marines, dishonorably discharged. And when you are discharged, you are no longer granted access. So Robert was walked off the property. He was not allowed to get his belongings out of his office. The Marines packed it up, kept all of that stuff. So a tip is called into the FBI, basically a concern from a member at the Marine base. And they say that they were searching through Robert's belongings and they noticed a floppy disk. And for those of you who don't know what a floppy disk is, Google it. Now, I remember having a floppy disk. I remember Windows 97 was my first computer. Shout out to my grandma. And we used to use floppy disk. I want to say it was maybe 512 megabytes. It might be less than that. I don't remember. Either way, a floppy disk is a memory device. You store documents on the floppy disk. The equivalent of a USB or your hard drive. So, I digress. They turn over this floppy disk because it has some concerning information on it, and it basically is a 26-step guide to murder. And the FBI is like, catch them and sink them. We got them. This is crazy. Robert basically typed out 26 steps as to how he was going to murder Captain Shirley before he even married her. Did he have an exit strategy or what? Crazy. Something that I found horrible out of this. Like, sir, you married a black woman. And in your 26-step guide, your response was, one of the steps was to blame it on her own kind. So that right there poses the picture as though you're talking about Captain Shirley. Now, let's be clear. He did not have Captain Shirley's name in this 26-step guide. But the information alluded to be pointing to Captain Shirley. His previous wife was white. So what do you mean blame it on her own kind? It's pretty suspect, pretty suspect. So, with this last piece of information, they are finally able to press charges and bring Robert in on formal federal charges of first-degree murder of Captain Shirley. On May 3rd, 1991, Robert Russell was found guilty of first-degree murder of Captain Shirley. The prosecution was able to prove their case, and Robert was found guilty and sentenced to life without parole to be served in a federal prison. Now that concludes another true crime case on my channel. If you are not subscribed, please make sure you hit that subscribe button before you click out of this video. Let me know your thoughts, questions. This case was really team too much. So let's chat it up in the comments below. Leave a comment below. I will get back to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. I can. You can. You can fucking do this, bitch. You can fucking do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get through this. Breathe, read, and don't be too worried about nothing, okay? My back is kicking my ass. Can I say ass? Ass, ass, ass.